Hi everyone, this is Rob Roy and welcome to the LA Wave Options U.S. Market Update. First of all, I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and is enjoying a happy holiday season. In the last recording, I talked about why the longs might be getting just a little bit nervous. Let's see if things have changed since that last recording. Take a look. So at the time of the last recording, the market had made this vertical move right here where we had just gone through that 100% fib extension, meaning that we are now in an extended C wave, and here is a reminder of the zigzag pattern. So that was the A impulse, here's the B correction, and then we had the C wave extension, which followed the rules, did everything it's supposed to do, went right to the 100% extension level, so that means the zigzag was satisfied, and then we got a retracement back to the previous 78.6% level before moving up. And so here we sit with this vertical move to the upside, and I relayed one of the rules that I follow, which is no security in any time frame gets very far away from its 10-day moving average. It just doesn't happen. If you start to get some separation, one of two things occur. In this case, it's a separation to the upside. So the security will either go sideways and allow the 10-day moving average to catch up, or you get a retracement back down to that 10-day moving average. In this case, as you can clearly see, the market just went dead sideways. So for 5 days, we basically went nowhere, and that allowed the 10-day moving average to catch up, and then we've had a little bit of upside momentum since then as the momentum was allowed to gather up for a further run higher. Now we're starting to get close to the new year. So middle of the year, or middle of the week, next week, end of the week, we'll start the new year, and the longs just, they have itchy trigger fingers. They can't wait to sell and take those gains, because so far the gains are unrealized, right? You actually have to sell something to make it a realized gain, and they want to book those gains, but they want to push out the profits into the following year if they can. It looks like they're going to get that opportunity, barring something very unforeseen happening at the beginning of the week. It's low volume, so if there was some unexpected black swan type thing or unexpected news event, we could have a downdraft before the new year, but I wouldn't expect to see that happen. And the only question that remains is, do we actually go up and hit this 161.8% level before we get a correction? Looking at the VIX, we also talked about how that would probably go sideways similar to this, and that's what it did until today, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to show you something else that's interesting about today's move. You would think Friday, end of the week, getting ready for the holiday week again next week, that things would have been pretty quiet, but we had some volatility, as you can see. So the VIX did bounce off of that 12 level and move up and changed a bit from that sideways nature than it had been doing earlier in the week. Then we look at interest rates, and we had a move to the downside, meaning money was moving into bonds. So things are kind of lining up here. They're starting to make sense. They had a little more volatility, money's moving into bonds, and look what happened to the dollar. Boom, big move to the downside. Now that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because we've talked about how it almost seems like countries have been in a rush to devalue their currency because it helps the multinationals, right? The exchange rate's better, their profits are better. All countries seem to want the weakest currency possible. They don't want a strong currency anymore. Same thing with the U.S. and the dollar. And so here's that big move that occurred to the downside in the dollar. Now that's not unprecedented. You can see that back in October we had some decent down days, but that was back when they were worried about that inversion in the yield curve and a potential recession on the horizon. And yeah, it's nice to have a weaker dollar, but we don't want it to get too weak. So there's like that Goldilocks area there where you want it to be weak enough to where it's not hurting profits, but not so weak that it's foretelling negative things on the horizon. I don't think we're at that point yet, but it is interesting that some things started to occur today. The beginning of next week, into the middle of the week, and then especially the end of next week is going to be very important. Again, continue to enjoy your holiday season. Talk to you again soon.